All right, here we are today with Chapter 3. This is Trust and Compliance. So, welcome to Chapter 3 of our Google Cloud Security audiobook. In this chapter, we'll explore the critical elements of trust and compliance in Google Cloud, including security and data privacy, access transparency, access approvals, and understanding compliance frameworks within Google Cloud. Establishing and maintaining trust. Trust is a foundational element of any cloud relationship, yet there are no shortcuts to earning it. The two main factors in establishing and maintaining trust are time and experience. In the cloud computing realm, this presents a unique challenge since customers typically don't have the opportunity to extensively test Google Cloud service providers or cloud service providers before making decisions. Google addresses this challenge through transparency and the Google Cloud Enterprise Privacy Commitments, which clearly articulate how Google Cloud protects customer privacy. These commitments are built on several core principles. First, as a customer, you maintain complete control and ownership of your data. You define and control where your data is stored geographically, and you decide when and where to move or copy that data. Google doesn't have the authority to replicate or move your data outside your selected region without your permission. All data processing follows the terms of your service agreements. Second, Google Cloud does not use customer data for advertising purposes or to target users for ads. Your data remains yours. It doesn't belong to Google. Google Cloud doesn't utilize your data in Google products, including ads, or for any purpose not explicitly described in your mutual agreements. Third, Google transparently collects only the data required to perform necessary business functions, aligning with compliance standards like ISO 27001, SOC 2, GDPR, and other established privacy practices. Fourth, data hosted on Google Cloud is never sold. Google enforces strict data handling policies with robust procedural and technical controls. The company maintains high standards for customer data that's stored, hosted, and served. Google's compliance reports and legal agreements provide detailed information on Google Cloud's compliance regarding customer data usage within legal, compliance, and regulatory frameworks. Finally, every Google product incorporates security and privacy from inception. Well-defined policies and controls dictate how security and privacy are managed and designed into products from the beginning, an absolutely essential approach in today's security landscape. Building a trusted cloud environment that businesses can rely on for critical information requires security, transparency, and privacy as fundamental components. Google Cloud's principles ensure these elements are comprehensively addressed. Without clear principles and independent audits to verify compliance with standards, establishing trust would be virtually impossible. Access transparency and access approval. Organizations with strict regulatory requirements or specific compliance needs often require visibility into the activities performed by their cloud service providers. Google Cloud offers two powerful features to address this need: access transparency and access approval. Access transparency provides near real-time logs whenever Google administrators access your Google Cloud environment. This creates an audit trail of Google employee actions within your cloud resources. So you can enable this by, taking access transparency logs taken by Google personnel when accessing your content on Google Cloud. Your organization must have a premium, enterprise, platinum, or gold support plan, and you need the access transparency admin IAM role. Okay? And I will drop these in the chat so anyone reviewing these can always look this up. So to assign the access transparency admin role, you go to IAM and admin. All right. Go to IAM and you would add the role. But since we don't have that higher level tier, we won't be able to do that today. But it would be under IAM. And then you'd enter the email address here. And let's say, okay, let's see if this is in here. Oh, it is here. So you'd add that role, save, and that should be able to go. And then you can enable access transparency. I am admin. Let's see, where are settings? Oh, there we go. And access transparency is not available for this organization, right? So I'd need to have elevated role. But that's okay. So access approval. Access approval takes a step further by giving you control over administrative access to your data. You can approve or deny access requests from Google employees when they need to interact with your content or data stored within Google Cloud services. Together, these features provide detailed records of access made by Google support and engineering teams to customer content stored in Google Cloud. This helps organizations meet regulatory compliance requirements, satisfy security audits, and adhere to internal governance policies. By maintaining comprehensive records of access activities, these logs contribute significantly to building trust and ensuring the integrity and privacy of customer data within the Google Cloud platform. Google follows best practices to control access to customer data. This is one, least privilege. All access by Google employees is denied by default. When access is granted, it's conditional, temporary, and strictly limited to what's necessary for users to perform their specific role and function. Two, limited singular access. Google makes it difficult for any single employee to access customer data without another individual being involved. This quorum-based access control for data is strictly enforced. Three, justified access. Google employees don't have default access to customer data. When staff need privileged access, they must have the required permissions, business justifications, and consent. Quorum-based controls provide oversight of all tasks performed. Four, monitoring and alerting. Robust monitoring and response processes exist to identify, triage, and remediate any potential violations of accounts. To enable access approval, we'll go through a couple of different steps, right? Access approval allows you to approve or deny Google personnel's access to your data. So to do this, access transparency must be enabled. So this article will show you how this is actually done. And I'll include that in the chat too. Access transparency must be enabled. You need the access approval approver and access approval config editor IAM roles, which is included here, right? And from here, you would go back and assign IAM roles as well. So you'd be in IAM, IAM, go to IAM, access. Let's go here. Select the role, access approve, approval approver, okay, and access approval config editor, ability to update the access approval configuration, okay? Click save, and you're there. All right, and then you enable access security or access approval. Going here, let's click on security, let's go to security, and then let's look for access approval. It might not be here, so let's open this in a separate tab. Oh, I think I just saw it. Access approval. All right. See, this is not available for this account level, but it gives you an idea of where to find this. All right. So Google implements numerous procedural and technological controls to ensure insider risk and administrative privileges are properly managed. When business requirements necessitate access to customer environments, Google logs these activities and shares them through transparency logs when requested. These logs establish trust and help customers demonstrate to auditors that they have visibility into data access and compliance with requirements. It's important to distinguish between regular activity logs and access transparency logs. While standard logs record actions of cloud users or administrators, access transparency logs specifically document actions taken by Google employees. These specialized logs include details such as the impacted resource, the specific action taken, the time of the action, the reason for access, and information about who accessed the resource. Organizations implement access transparency for several key reasons. One, to verify that Google personnel who accessed content did so with valid business justifications, such as responding to support requests. Two, to confirm that Google support engineers accurately followed the instructions provided by customers. 3. To verify and track compliance with legal or regulatory requirements. 4. To collect and analyze transparency logs and integrate them with security information and event management tools. To enable access transparency in your environment, you'll need a premium, enterprise, gold, or platinum support level. You can configure this through the Google Cloud Console by selecting the appropriate GCP project and using the correct IAM admin role related to access transparency. Configuring access approval. Access approval ensures you explicitly consent to Google support engineers accessing content in your environment. Let's walk through a typical scenario to understand how this works in practice. Imagine a customer is trying to access a file stored in Google Cloud Storage buckets, but encounters an access issue. They open a support ticket, and admin logs are created for the API call made to read the object. A Google support engineer, using support tools, attempts to retrieve the access control list for the bucket the customer is trying to access. Since the Google support engineer doesn't initially have access, a request is sent to the customer to approve or deny the request. When the customer approves, the support engineer can retrieve the previously inaccessible ACL or ACL. A transparency log entry is created that captures 1. The bucket, which is the object, 2. The associated action, read, 3. The reason, usually the ticket number. If the support engineer needs to open the specific file the customer is trying to access to verify it's accessible and resolve the ticket, they'll again be denied direct access. Another access approval request is routed to the customer. The customer can allow or deny this request based on various factors, including the sensitivity of the document. If the document contains generic, non-sensitive information, the customer might approve the request. Once approved, the Google support engineer can access the document and a corresponding transparency log is created, showing details like object, bucket 123, action, read, and reason is ticket number 12345. This demonstrates how customers maintain control of their data, a key Google Cloud principle. To implement access control in your environment, you have several options. You can automatically enable access approval for all supported services, so have it default on. 2, you can selectively enable access approval only for services with GA level support. 3, you can choose specific services to enroll in access approval. This flexibility allows you to tailor access approval processes to your organization's specific requirements. It's important to note that certain exclusions apply to access approval. These are specific scenarios where the feature isn't applicable. 1. Non-human programmatic access, such as comparison tasks running on content or disk, such as running on content or disk destruction during content deletion, which are allowed and reviewed by Google processes. 2. Legal access, when Google must access customer content to meet legally binding requirements. 3. Service outage resolution, when Google needs to access customer content to fix critical issues. 4. Cases where another access transparency exception is logged. 5. Activities that fail to generate an access transparency log. Like access transparency, access approval requires a premium, enterprise, gold, or platinum support level. Once validated, you can enable it through the Google Cloud Console. Understanding these features helps you leverage transparency to establish trust. For regulatory environments requiring access to transparency logs, Google offers Assured Workloads product that utilizes these capabilities. Though this is beyond the scope of this exam, this is useful to know. Security and privacy of data. When data is stored in any Google Cloud storage product, encryption of data at rest is enforced by default. This significantly enhances the security posture of organizations adopting Google Cloud. And importantly, you don't need to manage the underlying encryption technology, key lifecycle, or encryption controls yourself. Google Cloud offers flexible options, aligns with its privacy principles. This allows you to choose your preferred level of control over your encryption keys. 1. You can use Google Cloud Management Service. This is to create and manage your keys. 2. You can import your own keys and store them in a software-based KMS. 3. You can use Cloud SHM or HSM, the hardware security module of FIPS 140-2 Level 3 controlled appliance. Organizations with stringent compliance or regulatory requirements can utilize external key management systems, and these are hosted by Google partners and integrated with external HSMs. Google has established partnerships with selected EKM vendors who have integrated their solutions with Google Cloud KMS. This allows you to use your existing HSM-based key store and point to these keys using the EKM solution, giving you maximum control since Google doesn't persist these keys. Data residency. Let's close this. Let's move over. Went over that. Okay, data residency. Another critical area is data residency. I'll drop that link there. This, an increasingly common regulatory requirement, is data residency. Google is committed to meeting customer needs in this area through several capabilities and assurances. One, location control. You can specify where your data is stored physically and which Google Cloud region. Google provides assurances through compliance reports that it won't move your data without permission. You can apply organizational policies at the folder level or project level using resource location constraints to enforce which approved regions can be used for services. This can be combined with Cloud IAM to enforce or disable services for users, preventing data movement outside approved geographical boundaries. Two, data localization with KMS. While restricting data to a specific location is important, you can further enforce data localization using Cloud KMS, which has built-in data regionalization assurances. By creating a key ring bound to a specific location, you help to ensure both your data and the keys used to encrypt it remain within the boundaries of a specific Google Cloud region. Customer-managed encryption keys provide additional security controls to ensure resource creators choose appropriate locations. So you can enhance secure secrets with customer-managed encryption keys in cloud storage. And to do this, you enhance security by encrypting these or using your own keys. So you can do this in two ways in the GUI. Let's see if we can get there. There it is. There's key management. All right. So from here, you can create a key ring, or you can do it in the cloud CLI, right? So you can create a key ring and a key. With that, you can grant permissions to a cloud storage service account, and you can create a bucket with this applied to it. So there's also different elements as well. Okay, like VPC service controls. All right. VPC service controls are a feature that allows you to enforce egress and ingress policies and define IP address ranges and geolocations from which users can access services and data. Combined with Cloud IAM policies, you can allow authorized users from specified locations to access resources. Services inside a service perimeter, a virtual boundary within VPC, can be accessed based on defined policies ensuring data isn't moved to unauthorized locations. You also have key access justification, KAJ. All right, so you'll see the overview here, and I'll add that to the link. Google's KAJ feature requires that when there's a request to decrypt data using Cloud KMS or external KMS, detailed justification is provided, including information about which key is being requested. This, combined with a mechanism to approve or deny key access through an automated policy, allows you to limit Google's ability to decrypt your data. As the key owner, you decide who has access to your data, not the cloud provider. So, to implement an envelope encryption with Cloud KMS, you do this because it adds an extra layer of security by encrypting your data encryption keys with encryption keys. So to do this, you can generate a data encryption key, right? And this is a secure method to generate the DEK, the data encryption key, locally. And you can encrypt data with the DEK, right? And here's a sample of what you would do in order to do this from the CLI. You'd enter gcloud KMS encrypt, location, US Central 1, keyring, the keyring you created, key, the key you created, and a plain text file for equals dek.text with a ciphertext for the encryption. And then you'd store both the encrypted data and the encrypted DEK securely. So for more information, you can see this, which I've added to the chat. All right. We'll close some of these tabs just to give us a little more space. All right. All right. So we'll go to third-party risk assessments. Many regulated Many regulated organizations require specific assurances from Google Cloud about its security controls. For example, a bank hosting workloads on Google Cloud might need the provider to complete a vendor questionnaire. Google Cloud addresses this by providing self-assessment questionnaires that document Google's security controls, helping customers assess the security of their cloud services. These are available through Google Compliance Manager include 1. Cloud Security Alliance questionnaires, 2. Standardized information gathering assessments, 3. IHS Market KY3P due diligence evaluations, and 4. Google Cloud's data processing and security documentation. Google also offers security white papers on topics ranging from data encryption and privacy to incident response and compliance, which provide detailed insights into Google Cloud-specific security controls. And so you can find some of this here and find out how to get in more contact with Google directly. Okay, so compliance in the cloud. Google products undergo rigorous compliance reviews by independent third parties with relevant compliance reports available to customers. These reports fall into two categories. 1, reports that can be downloaded directly from Google Cloud sites, generally available to anyone. 2, reports that must be requested through a Google Technical Account Manager, TAM, if your organization has one assigned. New Google products often take time to launch as they must first be added to the compliance scope. Google follows a scheduled review cycle with new products added according to this cadence. Products typically undergo SOC 2 and ISO audits first, followed by market-specific certifications. Google maintains compliance with numerous international standards, including ISO 27001, ISO 27017, ISO 27018, SOC 2, and SOC 3. Additionally, the company adheres to country-specific compliance frameworks like FedRAMP for the United States and MTCS for Singapore. A significant advantage for customers is that every Google Cloud region is compliant with a set of basic compliance standards. While specific regions may not align with all local laws and regulations, Google strives to meet established standards where they exist. Customers must ensure they remain aware of applicable laws, regulations, and data protection requirements in their jurisdiction. So let's review some key international standards that Google Cloud complies with. ISO 27001. Let's skip this. Add that here. A little wiki page. So this information security management system framework consists of 14 groups, 35 control objectives, and 114 controls. It provides guidelines for establishing, implementing, operating, monitoring, reviewing, maintaining, and enhancing security management systems. The standards apply to all types of organizations, commercial, governmental, and nonprofit. Google undergoes yearly third-party audits to certify individual products against the standard. Okay, ISO 27002. That. See if we can find that easy. Okay. This standard details implementation practices for information security management system controls. While not a certification standard itself, and it's an advisory document containing best practices and guidelines that organizations can use to meet the controls listed in ISO 27001. It recommends information security controls to mitigate risks to confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Okay. We have ISO 27017. This extends the ISO 27001 framework, focusing specifically on information security related to cloud computing beyond the general guidelines and preceding documents. It advises both cloud service providers and customers to create a matrix of individual and shared responsibilities. And then we have ISO 27018. And the best place to find these original documents would be in the reference sources. Okay. These security guidelines focus on processing and protection of personally identifiable information, PII. The standard extends control objectives from ISO 27002, emphasizing security standards for public cloud service providers operating as PII processors. Accessing compliance reports. Google Cloud customers can download selected compliance reports directly from the Compliance Report Manager. New reports are typically launched at the end of each month and can be downloaded as needed if you have correct permissions. To access these reports, let's see. Okay. Use the filter for the desired report, the government health sector. Choose between industry agnostic options like ISO. Let's see. Here we go. Like the ISO, SOC, CSA or CSA reports, or government public sector reports relevant to government agencies, and then specify additional filters for the reports you want to see. And then let's say global, let's say government, let's say financial services, let's say vendor risk assessment. No, ooh, let's say audit reports. Okay. Select the report, and then you'd click download. Okay. Continuous compliance. One of the significant advantages of cloud computing is the ability to achieve compliance through automation and orchestration. Rather than waiting for quarterly manual audits, the cloud enables automated and on-demand compliance verification, dramatically reducing the time needed to resolve security issues and improving overall security posture. Continuous compliance means running automated compliance checks on cloud assets against implemented policies. When an asset changes state, for example, when a Google Compute Engine resource with known vulnerabilities is modified, compliance as code policies execute to check the state and report whether the resource is compliant or non-compliant. If the asset is compliant, no action is required. If it's non-compliant, organizations can take different actions depending on their maturity level. So a notification might be sent to the security and compliance teams for review and manual remediation, or an automated process might execute to take corrective action and bring the asset back into compliance. Google Cloud offers a comprehensive set of tools and services to help organizations ensure their systems and applications remain compliant with laws and regulations. This includes automated compliance checks, continuous monitoring, and alerting capabilities to help organizations respond quickly to potential issues. Implementing compliance and security controls in practice. So let's explore some practical implementation scenarios based on common requirements. 1. Securing cloud storage secrets. If you need an alternative to storing plain secrets in your source code management system, your SCM, the recommended approach is to encrypt these secrets using customer-managed encryption keys and store them in cloud storage. This provides a secure, centralized location for managing sensitive information. 2. Managing identity for cloud access. To essentially manage Google Cloud IAM permissions based on an Active Directory membership group, you can use Google Cloud Directory Sync to synchronize groups and assign IAM permissions accordingly. This approach allows you to maintain your existing identity management system while leveraging Google Cloud's powerful access controls. So let's take a look at this. So here's a little about page for you. So to do this, you have to set up and download GCDS, all right, from the official page. And we've gone over this a little bit already, but you need to have an advanced level org. From this, you'd open the GCDS configuration. You connect this to your Active Directory server. You connect to your Google Workspace or Cloud Identity account, map the Active Directory attributes to Google attributes, and then set synchronization rules and schedules. You can find some of this information in the cloud community. All right. I'll state this, and anyone who looks at these will be able to access some of this information. And there's also a provisioning guide, an official one, that might prove to be useful. All right. And there's also scenario 3. If you're securing container images. When you're creating secure container images for Google Kubernetes Engine, you follow best practices, like package a single application per container to minimize the attack surface, and remove unnecessary tools to reduce potential vulnerabilities. 4, you can protect user information. To analyze employee data trends without exposing individual identifiable information, use the crypto replace FFX FPE config DLP technique. All right. You'll find this here. Okay. So this method provides reversible pseudo-anonymization for analytics while protecting sensitive personnel data. All right. For scenario 5, you can implement envelope encryption. So when you implement envelope encryption and application layer encryption, you do 1, generate a data encryption key locally. 2, use a key encryption key from Cloud KMS to wrap the DEK. And then 3, store both the wrapped DEK and the encrypted data. And then, let me see if I can find. All right. And then 6, segregating PCI DSS data. To reduce PCI DSS scope in a project that holds both payment and non-payment systems, move cardholder data to a separate Google Cloud project. This isolation helps minimize the compliance burden on non-payment systems while maintaining strict controls where needed. And then 7, preventing data leakage. For a retail application that needs to detect and prevent PII and user comments before publishing, implement the Cloud DLP API. This service can automatically identify, redact, or transform sensitive data elements before they're stored or displayed. You could find that. There we go. And you'll find this here. Okay. So let's go into pseudonymizing data using Cloud DLP's crypto replace FFX FPE config. A little bit more. Let's see if we can find this. Okay. So this document will give you some more, but the basic steps will be you create a de-identified template. All right. Use the Cloud DLP API to create a de-identified template. And this page will get you the Cloud DLP information. All right. And then next, you apply the template to the data. And you use the DLP API to de-identify data using the created template. So please note, detailed instructions and code are included in DLP documentation, which I'll also show here, and then add to the list of links available. And in scenario 8, department level access control. To ensure departments have read-only access to new projects only within their department, create a folder per department under the organization node and assign the project viewer role to each department's Google group at the folder level. This provides clean separation while maintaining appropriate access. So let's go and apply this. Okay, so this is a good page to give more data or more information on managing roles. But the basic level would be to go here, I am, and then manage resources. Okay. And then here you could create a new folder or a new project. So let's say create the new folder and then call it schools. This is not oh, oops. All right, that's the folder name. The location, we don't have an organization, so it won't work. And then you'd be able to create that folder. All right. And then from there, you could enter the department's Google group email. And in the role field, you could select project viewer. Then you'd be able to click save. And you can get a little more information on this and the access transparency. All right. So this setup ensures that the department can view projects within their folder without accessing other projects in the organization. In the next chapter, we'll examine more from Google Cloud security. But until then, thank you.